Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and I am here today to give you my booktube tag 2021. Say that 10 times fast. Today I'm just going to be answering a couple of these questions that I've seen floating around. I saw a Sunny Book Nook do it and they are near and dear to my heart as a lesbian communist and just a really cool person. So I decided to do it. I don't know if tags are all that popular on YouTube, but I wanted to do it anyway because I'm here to talk about books. So I hope you enjoy. And yeah, there's only a couple questions, so this shouldn't be too extensive of a video, but I'm gonna talk about those books. Also, I just want to say real quick, excuse my bookshelf. I'm usually extremely against sleeping books as a bookstore employee, but I don't have room and I also don't have time right now to even fit those 3 books in, so yeah. First question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? So technically, yes. So the first one, I literally started it last night after I finished another book I'm gonna mention on this list, and it was My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. I talked about this in my last video, but it's one that obviously I need to finish because I just started it. And yeah, if you don't know, that book is about kind of this girl, Jade, who is obsessed with horror films and lives in this town that is quickly becoming gentrified. She has a lot of familial trauma, and it kind of follows her yeah, I guess her realizing all these things happening around town that are violent events, and then it kind of shifts into, I suppose, a portrait of her and kind of analyzing the girl underneath the shell of loving horror. And I don't really know. I'm just excited for it. It's my first Stephen Graham Jones novel, and I've only heard good things about him, except for like one Goodreads review. So I'm very excited to start it. Also, another book I wanted to finish this year that I started and have not finished is Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Maree Brown. This book is basically like an exploration and a compilation of different like essays and stuff about pleasure and the intersection of like shame and guilt and feminism and more. So this is a book I want to read, and it's also another pick for my community club book club that I have with my girlfriend. And yeah, I'm very excited to finish this book. It's kind of a big one that I think will take me a while, and I think I'm gonna read it section by section, but I'm very excited. The second question is, do you have any autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So this is kind of confusing because obviously we're in winter now, so I'm gonna change this question to, do you have any winter themed books to transition into the end of the year? And yes, I'm going to mention Patricia Highsmith's The Price of Salt, which I just finished last night, and this book is kind of a Christmassy book. At least the first half takes place in like a Christmas setting kind of, so it was timely to read. And this book, I'm going to talk about it probably again a little bit later, but it really surprised me. I went in just wanting some like sapphic literature, knowing that this was a classic, knowing that Patricia Highsmith is a well-esteemed author. I even ordered this one as a print-on-demand book because I needed this cover. I did not want to settle for the other covers because I needed this like pulpy ass cover because it's so cool and I just love it. But yeah, I started it and I actually like DNF'd it for a couple months knowing I was gonna come back to it, but I just like had a reading fatigue moment and I couldn't finish it. I was like 20 pages in, and also because it's a print-on-demand book, like the text is really awkward. There's like a lot of typos in it and it's really small and kind of weird, kind of not as like easy to read for my brain. So it took me a while to get through, but it really caught on. It was like kind of slow moving at first, but I literally was sobbing in my bed last night, sobbing. about the ending, and the prose is so beautiful. It's just so well done. If I had been annotating this book, it would be full of underlines, but I didn't have the energy to annotate this one. But it was beautiful, and it's a Christmassy energy, and yeah, I recommend that one. Next, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Kinda. So I am currently waiting for the paperback version of Ellen Cosmiano's Finlay Donovan is Killing It. This is another recommendation I've heard from a Sunny Book Nook. They just said it was like a new release this year that was really great, and I love hardcover books, but I'm on a budget right now, so I'm gonna wait for the paperback version. So I guess technically that's what I'm waiting for. Other than that, there's a book that surprised me this year. It was a monthly pick at my job that my boss had me read, and it was my first fantasy in like so long, but I did really like it, and it's like, I don't know, my one fantasy that I read this year pretty much, and I want to finish this trilogy because it was delightful. It really got me wanting to read more fantasy. So what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So I guess My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, as well as The Troop by Nick Cutter. I've heard good things about this from my pal Avery. Avery Reads a Book. They also have a YouTube channel and a podcast, but they recommended this book, and I just got it. Excuse the sticker. And I've been eyeing it for a while, and it sounds really gory, a lot of body horror, but I feel like it'll be a fun read. I don't know, it's supposedly like Lord of the Flies meets cray cray, so I want to read that book. I also want to read this book. I just got it at this bookstore, Bread Place Parodies BB in North Miami, and it was only $12, which I don't know, I guess they got it from the library and ended up selling it, I don't know, but it was only $12, which was lovely. And I had seen, I think, Carly Thorne talk about this book, and at first I was like, Frankenstein, really? But I don't know, I feel like it'll be fun. I don't know, I've heard good things. It's kind of like a futuristic take on like a Frankenstein story. Talks about queerness, talks about technology and AI, and I just think it'll be really cool. So I want to try to fit that in before this year ends too. Another book I ideally would want to read before this year ends. It might be a nice palate cleanser between the horror I'm reading, but I couldn't resist. I got this at work. The Yours Cruelly, Elvira. It's Cassandra Peterson's memoir, and it's where she comes out as gay too. And I'm just really excited to read it, and it's signed. Read it and weep. So I'm very excited to read this one, and maybe I'm gonna try to fit it in before the end of the year. Is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? I think some books already did shock me. As I said, The Price of Salt really shocked me. It was beautiful. I was not expecting to sob at the end of this book. I was not expecting to lose my marbles because of this book. So I think it did shock me, and it's up there for my favorite picks of the year. Also, an honorable mention about my favorite books from this year. It did not surprise me that this was on the top of my list, but of course, Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. It was amazing. That's all I need to say. You need to read this book. It's beautiful, and definitely up there, maybe even #1 of my favorite books read this year. So yeah. And have I already started making reading plans for next year? Yes, I have a huge TBR list. I'm aiming to read all of those books for next year, or try to squeeze in as many as I can before the year ends, though that might be really difficult. But yeah, I have a bunch that I still want to read, and yeah, I'm excited. I will be leaving my bookstore job, which is very, very sad, but with that, I think I will also possibly slow down my role of buying so many books, so I think it'll give me time to actually read everything on my TBR. So I'm very excited, and that is pretty much that for the book tag. It's only six questions, and it was created by Ariel Bissett, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any answers to these questions and you want to answer it yourself, feel free to look at the description. I'll post the questions and let me know your answers. We can talk about books in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I will be back with another video probably sometime soon. So thanks for watching.